We all listen the songs of how lucky Yashoda and Nanda were, or about Dasharatha and Kausalya, how fortunate they were to have been members of the family of an avatar. All of us, Sai family members, we start our days with the name of Ishwaramma, Ishwaramba, Srita Sriman, isn't it? So it will be wonderful to hear from you how it was to be a child in a family related to Avatar. When did you realize as a child the enormity and the great blessing of being in the presence of divinity at home? Please share memories of any life-changing moments in your life as an youngster.
Sairam Balu, Sairam to everybody. As usual, as a professor, the very first question is quite tough one, Balu. Talking to the Sai family members. No doubt, I had the blessing of being born in Swami's physical family. But Swami gave a much bigger family than a small physical family to us, universal family. The entire Sai fraternity, which spreads across the globe. It's impossible for anybody to even fathom this. Being born into that holy family, of course, you asked me when did I realize about this great good fortune. As everybody else, we have stages. We were like kids, and Balu, we need to grow. Each individual gets certain understandings at certain age. You attain certain maturity after certain time. And you will appreciate what you have only when you attain certain age. So as a kid, like anyone, I also grew up in that beautiful family. Of course, Swami is always awe-inspiring for everybody, even for kids, for middle-aged people, for young men, for old people. Swami is always, he's very, very awe-inspiring. And his persona, his light, is always creates a kind of a unknown energy and enthusiasm in everybody who comes in contact with him. So that kind of attraction, that kind of sort of pull to Swami has been always there right from our childhood. And whenever we see Swami, whenever we wish to go to Swami's mandir, it's a great joy. And of course, you know how much Swami loved everybody who came there, especially the children. And whenever we go there and we have been with him, and the kind of gifts he gives, the kind of love he showers, it's you can't even ever imagine the feeling which we all go through. And in that love we grew up. I had the great blessing of growing up in that love and that beautiful environment. And I don't know if I really can say this is the point in which from where I could start relating to him, or when I look back, I'm always connected to him for some reason which only I think he has blessed me with. I had a great attachment and attraction from childhood. Somewhere I developed that, and maybe Swami blessed. Now when I look back, perhaps there could have been some reason for that. Many incidences, Balu, I can't recollect as one particular defining thing, but many instances. The way, of course, you know, Puttaparthi being a small place, and we don't have any convent education here, and we didn't have any English mediums here when we studied. We studied in, I studied in a government school, government primary school, in a Telugu medium, and it's a very ordinary places we studied. Then Swami had started Ishwaramba School. Srimati Ishwaramba School was a Telugu medium school for local students. So I studied there. So, being in all this background and in all to this, if you see when I come into 11th standard, where I joined Swami school, of course, Ishwarama school also was Swami school. Swami had started. But when I started into 11th standard after my 10th, well, I can tell you the amount of care and interest that Swami took, perhaps to preparing me for something, because I was completely a Telugu medium student. And in fact, I remember when I went for interview for 11th standard, my English knowledge was almost zero. In fact, the principal asked me, "How do you do?" I got worried. What did I do? I said, "Sir, I didn't do anything." That is my standard of English. So from there, I still remember when after joining, Swami would call our English teacher and say, "This boy needs to speak," and teach him, take a special classes, and he completely follows it up. Every week after week, he would call and say, "Is he speaking English?" And from within 6 months, I was able to speak in prayer hall. There's Thursdays we have meetings. So one of the days, Professor Habu told me, "You must speak," and within 6 months, I could stand and speak something in a prayer hall. So from where to where, so much of care that Swami took, and regularly he would ask our English teacher whether my pronunciations are correct and I'm speaking well. So I think, when I look back how much I'm beholden to him, I can't explain. From there, that's how he also extended the connection very clearly, and that's where he held from then onwards, he's holding my hand, and all the journey has been so beautiful so far. Anything else, any specifically, if you want, I can narrate, but basically from step by step, we learn about Swami's glory, Swami's teachings. In fact, he would be very happy. I had a habit of writing Swami's discourses, Balu. Whenever Swami would speak in Mandir, I have a small pad, I go and keep writing. And there are many times I get a very good place where Swami, I'm sitting right in the front of Swami, but when he stands up for discourse, I will keep writing without looking at him. I keep noting down. And Swami would always be very happy. And there was a day when I was not writing. After the discourse, he came and said, "Why are you not writing?" So I still preserve that lovely diary which I have noted down, and so many discourses I wrote. Of course, subsequently, those things have been very helpful to me, because those things have really gone into my whole being whenever I wrote and read them. And Swami encouraged me to do that. And many things about the defining, I can't say one incident where it is it has made a difference, but yes, there are a few of them. And he specifically one day he asked me, "Do you take non-vegetarian food?" I said, I just kept quiet, because in Raju's family we are all non-vegetarians. That's the way it has been there. So he told me, "You should never take non-vegetarian food." And then, yes, he took some few steps and came back, and he told me, "See, don't take, I'll tell you what he exactly described. He said, Vibhuti Pandu. Vibhuti Pandu, I did not understand. He says it's a Vibhuti fruit. I did not understand what Swami was meaning. I was blank. He said, it's egg. Don't even take egg. Some 40 years back, some 38 years back. So now when I look back, how carefully he prepared me for this, I don't know. Gratitude is not is just a mere word, but I don't know how to repay this debt of Swami for guiding and giving purpose to my life. Yes.
Beautiful. Wonderful to hear that, Brother Rathnakar. And the care gives the confidence, as you said, the primary school or the summer school, that Telugu medium school. Even I studied it in them. So really, that is the education. That is the, again, his care and confidence only made me to reach a place
Balu,
like
Balu, I'll just tell you one very, of course, I haven't shared much with anybody, but I'll tell you what happened once. He called me for an interview. Swami called me for an interview, which has never happened for us. And, I was sitting in the veranda and he called me for interview. With everybody else, I went and sat and went inside. Then Swami had one more private interview room kind. So he would call one by one, and my turn came, he called me in. And I went and sat at his feet, and he said, birthday is coming, and he gave me one safari, some cloths and for stitching. And it was in September. September 2nd, if I can say, 1984. He asked me one question, what do you want to become? Not knowing much, and I used to read a lot of spiritual books. So I just said, Swami, I want to be like Vivekananda. And he just smiled and said, why do you want to become anybody else? You become yourself, you can yourself become God. So why do you want to become anybody else? Again, you have to become God. So directly you become God. That is the path you need to take. Don't become anybody else. You yourself, become yourself. So that is the first interaction, and very deep interaction I remember, Balu. And he told me after, he said, be very disciplined, don't talk much. All that, whatever, for young boys, whatever he used to tell. And interestingly, when I took Namaskar and I was coming out, he said, you follow whatever I told very carefully. And very keeping his hand on my shoulder, he said, I have a lot of work with you. Nito chala panundi, jagrataga untundu, like that. That is what he said. Now, when I came out, and he said, chala panundi, I was waiting maybe some cleaning work or some, we have to, but when I look back how much deeply he was conveying and guiding our lives. 1984, he told me, Nito Panundi, like that, I have a lot of work with you.
Rathnakar, could you please translate that, because a lot of devotees also will be seeing this. And,
He said, I have a lot of work with you in future. That is what he said, which which I don't know. Well, it's too much overwhelming to even think and talk all that. See, we don't know this, how the God's plans, God design is. So many things have happened after that, and I went and worked outside. I was in a company working, and then I was doing some freelancing consultancy and things like that. And then finally, how it all brings, and when I joined one corporate company, my boss and myself came for darshan, and Swami picked him for interview. And you won't believe what he has told him. He said, train him in all departments. It's like, we are going to use him, like, we need him here. And so you train him for everything. That is what he has told him. My boss told me later on, I don't think you're going to be around here. I said, why you says that, sir? He said, no, Baba told me you train him in all departments because we want him here. See, after that interview, I could come only after 10 years. So we don't know. That God's scale, God's design, God's timings. These are all I'm saying in retrospective. When we have learned things later on, and once we can appreciate what happened, I'm saying this.